Welcome back to the channel, guys. So earlier I was taking a look at Twitter, and Adam Parker here, he sent me a little message saying, hey, have you seen this Madbox console? I was like, what the hell is this? Is this another Soulja Boy console? Is he getting back into the game? My interest was piqued, to say the least. 120 FPS, 4K, compatible with most VR sets. What games is this even supposed to play, he says. Can it really compete in the market, or are they wasting their time and money? So I was really intrigued. I was like, what the hell is going on? What is this? So I dug into it. I wanted to see what this thing was about. So this is a new console coming out. Very strange. From Slightly Mad Studios, the Madbox. Slightly Mad Studios, they've been in the business for a while, the video game business. They've made Project Cars 2, Project Cars 1. Well, I guess there was no 1 at the end of it. Project Cars. They've made a lot of racing games, simulation games. Red Bull Air Race, the game. Never heard of that one. I might want to check that out. Project Cars, like I said, Test Drive Ferrari Racing Legends, Shift 2 Unleashed, Need for Speed Shift, BMW M3 Challenge. So they're into the car simulation business. Pretty cool. I've honestly only played Need for Speed Shift. I have not played any of these others, Project Cars, none of them. But I know a lot of people do dig some of these games that they make. So this is pretty darn interesting. Taking a look at this thing, this is the article that's talking about the console that these guys are making. Madbox console revealed from Slightly Mad Studios. So it's going to be compatible with most VR headsets, and those that are coming out, equivalent to a very fast PC 2 years from now. That got me thinking, okay, 4K gaming, 120 frames per second. Bell says his 60 frames per second claim in the tweet, I guess, whatever tweet it was, is per eye, which combines to 120 frames per second benchmark. All right, cool story, bro. This is still very early, as we can read from here. They're still in early talks with component manufacturers. You know, they're looking at the final specs haven't been confirmed, but it's still going to be like a super PC from 2 years from now, right? It's going to be priced competitively with the PlayStation 5, the Xbox, whatever the frick it's supposed to be called. I don't know. This is the other part that's kind of interesting. So Slightly Mad Studios' own development engine will be free for all to use. So they're not looking to court developers to make exclusive games. That's kind of strange. They think exclusives are exclusionary, but given that we'll be shipping a cross-platform engine to all developers, it will be their choice. Bell says both old and new games are welcome on the Madbox, so port to your heart's content or make new stuff, right? Bring it. And they're saying that this is the one thing that I was curious to find out with any new console coming out, be it a legit console, not one of those Soulja Boy consoles. A lot of these companies go to crowdfunding, Kickstarter, whatever the other one was. I can't even remember. And Indiegogo, right? These guys, they've got the required funding, it seems, or they have investors who are already offering that. They're looking at different things, finding the best deals, I guess. You know, people wanting partial ownership, stuff like that. So they're still digging into all that. These guys are saying, but this is the part that kind of I'm curious about. More information on the Madbox, including photos of early design concepts, will be released in 4 to 6 weeks. You don't have your specs down, you don't have anything really going yet, but you're going to have some concept stuff within a month or so, month and a half. I mean, that's highly possible. You can show like, hey, this is what it's going to look like, but if you don't have the specs down and you're making all these claims, in my eyes, what is this thing going to be? Is this going to be like one of those Steam machines? Is this just going to be a PC? To me, that's what this sounds like it's going to be, is a PC. They're going to be shipping a engine that they use, that they've developed, their development engine, but isn't the only games they've made car racing games? So is that engine the engine they're talking about, or is this a new engine? Is their engine adaptable to many other types of games? Because I would imagine if all they've ever made was racing games, that their engine that they've developed would be geared more towards making car racing games, right? This is the thing, is equivalent to a very fast PC 2 years from now. So my thought is this probably won't be coming out for a couple years. to compete with these newer consoles that will be coming out 2020 or so. And it's sounding to me it's just going to be a PC. It may not be. It may be its own whole thing. But regardless, is there, just like my boy here, Adam Parker, can it really compete in this market, or are they wasting their money and time? That is the thing, man. Like, I do believe it's going to be very hard to enter into the console business and be a viable business. Sure, people will buy anything people put out. Anybody can make a console, not like the Soulja Boy stuff, not a clone console that plays emulated games. That's not what I'm talking about. There's always a market for that kind of stuff as well, but I'm talking about an actual system that plays its own games that are developed for that system. I just don't know, in this time and era, can anybody really enter that space and be successful? Because there's been a lot of companies who have tried, maybe on a not as grand of a scale as this sounds like, but you know, the Ouya, little things like that, little Android gaming devices, the Atari VCS, which we really haven't heard much about lately, Tommy Tallarico's Intellivision coming out. Those things, we don't know how that's going to really look when they launch, if they launch. I know, you know, with Tommy and the Intellivision, that's kind of geared towards a separate market, not really meant to compete with the big dogs. More of a family-friendly thing, like, hey, this is its own system, and there's a certain price point. You know, it's got its little quirks and its little things that are setting it apart from me considering it like, hey, they're putting this out to compete with everybody. There's always going to be that space for those companies to put systems out there like that are just kind of niche little things that maybe you know, jump at people with nostalgia for old school gaming. You know, older systems, things like that, quirky little things. But to enter that retail space to compete with the big dogs, I don't think anybody can do that. Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, they're the big dogs. Can somebody overtake that? Can somebody jump in there and get to the number 2, the number 3 spot? I don't know. I don't think it's very likely right now. You know, because like these guys are saying like, oh, you know, we're not really looking for exclusives, but I think exclusives sell systems. That's the unfortunate part of it, because otherwise everybody just be gaming on PCs. That's just my thought. You know, you could think differently if you like, but I seriously feel that without exclusives, that why would your system be set apart from somebody else? Some people buy Sony machines because of the Sony developed games for it. Same thing with the Xbox, same thing with Nintendo. All three of those systems have their own exclusives, maybe on a grander scale than others, maybe more quality titles than others, depending upon how you're looking at it. But all three of those systems offer exclusives. With a company that's only made a handful of car racing games, who's really going to jump on board? To me, this really does seem like it's just going to be a PC that's marketed as a home console PC. We'll have to wait and see with that, but I seriously don't think there's space at this time. The big dogs have it, and you know, the little dogs trying to jump in there and get a piece of that meat. I mean, they might get a little bite, they might get a little nibble, but I don't really see anybody taking off right now. If Sega were to reintroduce a console, I think that might be too little too late as well. Like, could they compete? You know, being a company who previously was in the home console business, I don't even know that it's likely that they could jump back into this, you know, with the current climate of gaming. It's all just a very strange thing. I just wanted to talk about this for a moment because I thought it was pretty interesting. You know, you don't hear about companies taking these leaps, not as often anymore anyway, that, hey, we're jumping into this, we're gonna be in with the big dogs, that kind of thing. I know they're not specifically saying that, but just from the wording from a lot of this, it sounds like, hey, we're going big. It's going to be priced competitively with, you know, the newer consoles coming out. So to me, it just seems like, hey, we're trying to jump into the mix too. So let me know what you guys think. Is there room? Is there space? Like the tweet that I received, are they wasting their time and money? Is people gonna jump on this? Or are they just gonna look at it and think the same thing I'm thinking? This is just a PC. And just buy a PC anyway. Because, I mean, if they're going to be competitively priced to what the newer consoles are, but they're going to be like a fast PC 2 years from now, I don't know, guys. So let me know what you think. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sweet ass love to that notification bell, because I know you want to. You make a mess, it's on you, man. I can't help you out. With that said, guys, I will catch y'all next time. Peace out, bye-bye, and boom!